Hi everyone, my name is Riley, and today I'm going to be talking to you and kind of teaching you the way to go about planning your life, kind of career goals, but mostly life, just because everyone's career is different, like the path that they want to take. So I feel like life in general, it kind of like goes hand in hand, but this will be a better way of explaining how to kind of put your life goals also towards like what you want out of your career. So this is just kind of my perspective, things that I've learned along the way after graduating high school and being in college for 2 years, and kind of what I figured out that like I want out of my life and how to go about planning for it. Everyone does different things, so I mean my way is by no means like the correct way, but I do feel like these are realistic ways to kind of figure out what you want and how to get there. So yeah, that'll be what my video is about. So basically, when you are planning your life, what you want out of it, what you want for a career, it can honestly be a really scary thing. I know when I graduated high school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I still don't really have a whole lot of idea. I've definitely figured it out since then. But when I graduated, I was super terrified of starting college. This was going to be me moving away from my family. I moved all the way down to San Diego from Northern California, so I'm a good 8.5 hours away from my family. And for someone that's I'm super close with my family, and I spend a lot of time with them. It was definitely a new challenge, but I think it was also good for me. It opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it allowed myself to be more independent and work on myself as a person without like the influences of my family, like my mom, my dad, my sisters, my cousins, all that. So it definitely allowed me to work on myself individually and like really figure out what I wanted to do in life and how I was going to get there, and really just focus on myself. And it wasn't a piece of cake. It still isn't a piece of cake. I still have a ton to learn, and it really, it's honestly a process. It's a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I said, my way is not the only way, and I definitely don't have it all figured out, but I do think that these are some really good steps to getting there. So basically, after high school, I was kind of like, okay, so what do I want to do? And I picked psychology as a major. Turns out that's not what I want to do. I don't really have any interest in doing that anymore. It was definitely a field that I was interested in learning about, but it's not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. So I have now since decided that journalism is more of the path I want to go on. I'm, a great writer, not to, be conceited or anything, but that's definitely my strongest subject, strongest talent, I guess you could say. So that's kind of my pathway now. So in learning this after being in college for 2 years, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna reach my career goals, like what I want out of life. But these are kind of some steps that I've also learned from my parents, learned from other people around me on how to reach them, and good steps to take when thinking about, how you want to go about your life. So the first thing is you got to set goals for yourself. Sitting down, taking like 5, 10, 15 minutes to kind of decide, okay, what do I want to do? What are my goals? What's something that I can reach? So, you want to make these goals attainable. It shouldn't be something that is super out there, something that's not realistic. You want to make it realistic for what you have going on right now. So it should definitely be something that pushes you and makes you work hard, though. It shouldn't be, something super easy. It shouldn't be like, I shouldn't say that, because everyone's definition of easy is totally different. Something that may be easy for someone else is something that's super challenging for another person. So I guess that's, but it should be something that is relatively attainable for where you are at life. It should be something that you can see yourself doing, something that does push you and makes you work hard, makes you think, not something too easy for where you are at. So it should also, your goals should increase with you. So you set, 5 goals for where you are in life now. Well, once you reach those 5 goals, set another 5. Keep going until you get to the point where you feel like this is where you want to be. And these goals can also change. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing, has to be, well, I already said I was going to do this, so I'm going to do it. Things change. People change. Life changes. And as life changes, so do you. When you get older, things change. There's other outside forces that, can happen that can make things more difficult, less difficult. So, also take into consideration that these plans may change. And they may not, and that's great too. If they don't and you're able to reach them without anything getting in the way, that's great. But, they are going to change. It's not unreasonable to think that, setting one goal for yourself, at this point in your life is something that you want to stick with now, but maybe later on it's not. And that's perfectly fine. You should never beat yourself up about thinking that, well, I already said that I was going to do this, so I have to do this. And that's something I do a lot to myself, and I'm still trying to learn how to not be so hard on myself, but you have to realize that, it's okay to not be where you want to be, and also figure out how you get there. And then, also realize that you can't control everything. And that's another thing. You can't stress about what you can't control. If it's something you can fix it. If you know how to fix it, do it. Get it to where you are now in the spot that you want to be. But if you can't change it and you have to change a little bit of your goal or a little bit of your plan, that's fine too. Things are going to happen. Don't stress yourself out. Don't beat yourself up. Don't think that, because you are not where you're at, or you're not doing as great, or one of your goals is starting to look a little bit harder, don't think that means you can't reach where you want to be. So you also, so after you set these goals, you need to also set a plan for how you're going to reach these goals. So make a realistic plan. Something, use the SMART goals we learned about. Use something that is attainable, something, figure out the amount of time that you can reach it in, that kind of stuff. But also make time for the things that are important in life, like your family, your friends, school, work, all of that's important. Like getting to where you want to be in life is super important, but you also have to make time for yourself and the people around you. I feel like that's something that I forget sometimes, and that a lot of people forget sometimes, is that, like, yes, getting to where you want to be, getting your dream career, making a lot of money, super important, especially in the society that we're in. I hate to say, like, money doesn't, bring happiness, because honestly it brings comfort. It brings something that you don't have to worry about having to pay for your house, or having to pay for food, or, where your next meal is going to come from, or how you're going to make that car payment or that phone payment, all that kind of stuff. But so you definitely do need to work hard to be able to have those things, but you also need to make time for your family and for your friends and for yourself. Self-care is honestly the most important. Mental health, super important, and that's something that you should also take into consideration when planning all this stuff. Make sure that you are okay first. So that should also be included in your plans to how to reach these goals that you're setting for yourself. That's super important. I live by that 100%. So also another thing, ask help and take help when it's offered to you. It's okay to ask for help, to need help when you do need it. It's not weak. It's not something that should be looked down upon. If you have help that's being offered to you, if you have opportunities that are being given to you, take them. There's nothing anywhere that says you shouldn't. Maybe from people that think that you need to do it all on your own. Honestly, that's super unrealistic. I wouldn't be where I am without half the help that I've had from my family, from my friends, the support of all of them, opportunities that I've been given from previous bosses, from school, all that kind of stuff. Take them. Don't think that that's a weakness because I have to do it by myself. Well, you don't. You can take help from other people. That's okay. That shouldn't be something that's looked down upon. And along with that, go for the opportunities that are presented to you. Opportunities can lead to 100 different things. Like, don't think too much about whether or not, like, oh, I'm gonna fail. Like, no. And even if you do, that's okay, because that was a learning experience. That was something that you got out of it that really made you a better person, that, allowed you to take that experience and learn from it. It was something that, you can turn it into a life lesson. So go for those opportunities and don't think too much about it. Like, think about where they might take you. Like, okay, this could be, you know, a really good opportunity, you know, a job that could take me to the next level of where I want to be. Even if it wasn't really included in your plan in the first place, still go for it. It's okay. Like, that could, you know, jump you past 3 of the plans that you already set, and now look where you are. So you kind of just, you have to take the experiences and the opportunities and use them as a learning tool to get to your next place. Don't stress too much about whether or not it's going to work out. Don't stress too much about, like, oh, this wasn't included, like, I didn't plan for this. Like, that's okay. Like I said before, things happen. Life changes, and you have to, you know, you have to plan accordingly for them, but you also can't miss out on opportunities that could potentially push you in a greater direction versus, you know, not taking them because it might not work out. So, I know that was a pretty quick video of an explanation, just basically like telling you what I kind of like have learned throughout the 2 years of being in college, and like things that I use like on a daily basis, trying to figure out like what I want out of life. But like I said, you know, set goals that are attainable, not too easy for where you're at, things that you can definitely see yourself doing. Plan for those goals, and how you're going to reach them, things that you can do. At the same time, making space for your friends and family and yourself. That's super important. And all right, so yep, that is my advice. That's what I've learned, and I hope you guys have also learned a little something or taken away something that you can then use for your life and your planning of goals. So thanks for watching.